Hello children, welcome back to yet another interesting session of Human Rights and Fundamental Rights Part 2, 19th lesson in your textbook. Children, in the previous class we have discussed about the human rights and what are the fundamental rights. We have also discussed the two fundamental rights, that is right to equality and right to freedom. So, let us continue with the fundamental rights now. In the previous class, we have discussed about the human rights, the fundamental rights enshrined in our constitution, right to equality and right to freedom. So, in this class, we shall discuss about the right to life, right against exploitation, right to freedom of religion, right to education and culture, right to constitutional remedies, scope of fundamental rights, other institutions and rights, Human Rights Commission, violation of human rights and also about the fundamental duties. So, what is the next fundamental right? Right to life. Okay. So, what is right to life? Let us understand. Has the right to life and personal liberty. Liberty in the sense freedom. So, everyone has right to live in this world and live happily and peacefully without any sort of tensions of losing their life. So, no one can be awarded punishment which is more than what the law of the land prescribes at that time. Suppose if a person has done some crime, so whatever the crime he has done, only whatever to that extent the law can punish him. Suppose if it is a big crime, then the law is the only one who can give them the punishment such as hang up to till death, but except law there is no other person who can deny the citizens of a country from enjoying the right to life. So, except under such kind of circumstances, when the crime is very big, the right to life can be denied, and that too only by the court and the law. Except that there is no one who can take off the right to life. And also the next one is right to life does not mean right to die, means no one has the right to take off their life by themselves, that is to commit the suicide. That is wrong. It is also an offense or it is also a crime. Committing suicide is a big crime and no one has the right to take off their own life. Right to life does not mean right to die. And the next one is right to life is also extended. In 2002, the right to primary education also became the part of right to life. So, this makes necessary arrangements to be done by the government to arrange for the schools and to their parents to so that all the children can go and attend the school regularly, and also to learn what is this world about, to get an opportunity to study, to know about this world and to acquire the skills to express themselves and make creative contributions to the society. And they also have the right to acquire more and more opportunities for their future. There is also another right extended as a part of right to life, rights of a person who gets arrested. So, no one can be arrested arbitrarily, means without saying the reason. Police cannot arrest any person without telling them the reason. So, grounds of the arrest must be told, and if they are getting arrested, then they can, the victim, they can go and approach to the lawyer of his choice to defend against such injustice. Then the next right is right against exploitation. So, under this right, all forms of forced labor are prohibited. For example, vetti. Vetti is once upon a time people, the landlords used to make the workers to work and they never used to pay any sort of wages. It was called as vetti chakiri in the earlier times. So, that is prohibited completely and no one can force anyone to do or to work as a bonded laborer, and if the law comes to know about it, such people who are making the victims to do such kind of things are severely punishable according to the law. What is the next one then? The next is the prohibition of employment of children in factories. So, as a part of this right, the constitution also says that no child below the age of 14 shall be employed to work in any factory or mine. So, in the hazardous places, dangerous places, they cannot be employed, and even laws are also made to prohibit, to stop the children from making the matches, matchboxes, crackers, beedies or carpets or any sort of printing or dyeing, in all these activities which are dangerous. So, children should not involve in all these activities also. Then the next one, this was all related to the right against exploitation. So, the next right is right of freedom of religion. What is freedom of religion? All the individuals are free to follow their conscience and practice any religion. So, no one can be prohibited from following his or her religious practices as individuals. So, every citizen, they have the right to enjoy their right to freedom. They have the right to follow any religion. It is a personal belief. They can follow any of the religion of their own. They can even change their religion, or sometimes some people may not follow any religion also. So, nothing can be done to such persons, and they have the right to do such kinds of such things which the law has no objection. Anyone is free to follow any religion, not follow any religion, or can change their religion or the religious belief. Government has no official religion. The government has no any religion. Then it should treat all the religions as equal in India, and which makes India a secular country. Then the next one is right to education and culture. So, what is right to education and culture? The constitution says all minorities, whether based on the religion or language, shall have the right to establish and administer educational institutions of their choice. So, all the minority here means the population less in number belonging to a particular religious community, or the population less in a particular place speaking that particular language. For example, if Kannada speaking people are less in Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, so they can be called as minority. Okay. And for example, Sikh people are less in the southern states, they can be called as minority, whereas they are majority in Punjab, whereas they are the minority in Telangana or the southern states. Similarly, the people who are speaking Hindi, they are majority in northern states, where they are minority in the southern states. So, this is the what is called as minority and majority. So, all the citizens, those even if they are minority, they have the right to form their own educational institutions in any place of the entire India, and they can promote their culture and traditions, and no one can stop them from doing so. Minority groups are usually thought in terms of language and religion, as I said. You can take one example, as suppose if the Kannada speaking people want to establish an educational institution in Telangana. So, they are suppose they can do that, and even they can also be given the grants which are given to any other private schools also, but they have to follow certain norms and conditions which are there in the Telangana state board. So, with that they can also avail all the grants also. So, this is about the right to education and culture. So, children, I hope you are able to understand. Let us go for the next one, right to constitutional remedies. What are the constitutional right to constitutional remedies? Children, we have been discussing all the different 6 fundamental rights till now. So, these are all the very important fundamental rights which develops the personality of a person and which helps him to grow and develop in his life. So, if there are people who stops the individuals or the persons from enjoying their rights, so what these people can do, what the Indian citizens can do, that they have the right to claim, to go to the courts, to approach to the courts for justice. So, that right is nothing but right to constitutional remedies. Children, I hope you have understood this concept. So, let us see. These rights are so important that a violation of these rights by the state gives the people the fundamental right to approach the high courts and Supreme Court. So, they can approach to the High Court and Supreme Court. They need not approach to any lower court. They can directly go to the High Court or the Supreme Court for the denial of their fundamental rights. When such rights are violated, they can be restored by the courts by giving specific directions or orders. The courts will issue certain directions to those people who are stopping them by punishing them and make those rights to be enjoyed by all the citizens of the country. What is PIL then? Children, you have understood what is the right to constitutional remedies. Let us go for the next one. What is PIL? So, what is PIL? PIL is public interest litigation. Suppose the same right is denied not to one person but a group of people at the same time. So, one person among them can approach to the court on behalf of all the group, entire group of people. So, such a litigation, such a right is called as PIL, public interest litigation. They can approach to the court with the public interest litigation. They can go for filing a case against such people who are denying such a right of such a large group of people. PIL includes many other kinds of public interest litigations, including environmental issues, transparency, probity of the governments and treatment of the prisoners. For all these also now PIL is applicable. Children, till now we have discussed about all the fundamental rights. Now, let us go for the next topic, the scope of fundamental rights. The fundamental rights provided in the Constitution can be amended from time to time. So, what is the extent of the fundamental rights we are going to discuss here. So, the fundamental rights can be amended in the sense changed. So, many of the fundamental rights till now have been changed also, have been amended as per the situations and the conditions. So, see this like right to education, it was not there earlier directly. So, now it has been added as part of fundamental right, and rights also may be modified. Modified means certain changes can be brought in that particular right through the Parliament, and the Supreme Court also make judgments that would expand the meaning of particular right. So, through the Supreme Court also the right to the fundamental rights can be amended or it can be made adjusted, can be extended, such as right to food has been expanded to the context of right to life. Right to food is now also part of right to life. So, children, you have understood what is the scope of fundamental rights, that the fundamental rights can be altered, can be changed according to the new situations that would arise, and that has to be done for the benefit of the people or the individuals of the country. The next one is about the other institutions and rights which exist in the world all over as well as in India. So, rights like the democracy of the idea of democracy have captured the attention of people across the globe. So, rights are often traced to the Magna Carta of England and French Revolution, where a declaration of rights of man and of citizens are announced. So, as a part of United Nations, they have adopted the themes of the French Revolution and the English Revolution, and they have been added as a part of fundamental rights. After the World Wars, the United Nations organization was established. Second World War was devastating. It created a lot of restlessness in the entire world. So, with the objective to ensure that no major wars will be there, no more major wars will be there across the globe. So, United Nations assigned this task to a group of people from 9 different countries around the world, who drafted the list of 30 articles, and this became the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, which was passed on by the United Nations General Assembly in the year 1948. The member nations of United Nations are all signatories to this and thus under an obligation to uphold these rights. So, all the members of United Nations, they all have signed that Universal Declaration that there is not going to be any more war, while these do not have the force of the law. So, the violation of these rights will be considered unacceptable. They may not be forced upon everyone, but the violation of the rules which are there as a part of United Nations organization and the General Assembly, they will be considered unacceptable by the international community, and in many cases they invite the sanctions by the other countries. Children, we also celebrate World Human Rights Day when this United Nations has declared that there is not going to be any more war and the world would be full of peace and happiness, and there is not going to be any violent activity in the entire world. So, that day on which this United Nations has declared is considered as the World Human Rights Day, which is celebrated every year on 10th of December. So, this is the first global enunciation of human rights which was adopted on 10th December 1948. Children, there is also another institution which is NHRC, which is National Human Rights Commission in our country. So, this is also one of the institutions that has been established in our country to protect the human rights. So, in 1993, the Government of India passed the Act of Legislature to protect human rights as well as set up under this law called the National Human Rights Commission, NHRC. This is an important abbreviation, children. Let us learn about NHRC in detail. NHRC is vested with the authority to make an inquiry suo motu, that is, take its own initiative or on a petition presented to it by a victim or any person on his or her behavior. It means what? NHRC is an institution which has the right to investigate if any sort of problems arises in the violation of the human rights, and it can interrogate and get the things corrected. So, this is one of the important functions of the NHRC. Then let us see the next one. It can intervene in any proceeding involving any allegation of violation of the human rights. So, it can intervene if any sort of violation being done for the human rights. Some people are denied of the fundamental rights. So, NHRC has the right to intervene in that matter and sort out a better solution which can provide a peaceful and happy life, a dignified life and a respectful life to the citizen of the country. It also can go approach to the courts, and it can make and revise the safeguards provided by or under the Constitution for the protection of human rights, and recommends measures for the effective implementation. It can also revive the Constitution, and if any denials of the fundamental rights are being done, it can approach to the courts, and through the courts it can get the things implemented. And what is the main purpose of NHRC is not one single citizen should be denied of enjoying the fundamental rights, and no fundamental rights should be violated. This is one of the most important function of NHRC. Then the next, the commission has been given the power to a civil court. Powers of a civil court extendable to the entire country. The government has established another institution to monitor and inquire into the situation in which these rights are violated. So, what are the different commissions that will come under the NHRC are National Commission for Women, National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, and National Minority Commission and State Human Rights Commission. These are all the various commissions established under the National Human Rights Commission. Children, now there is also the other very important thing, that is at international level. What is the institution that has been established? At the international level, United Nations has established Committee for Human Rights which looks into the violation of the international pacts. So, at the higher level, at United Nations organization level, it itself has taken the responsibility to protect the human rights and see that there is no violation of human rights takes place. What is considered to be the violation of human rights? We have been discussing about the violation. So, what are the things that will come under the violation of the human rights? Let us see. So, police excesses, if police does its more than its duty, it is called as police excesses, arbitrary arrest, denial of rights to information and corruption, sexual cruelty and rape of women, delay in investigation of crimes, female infanticides, in the sense killing of the female children at the time of their birth because in the name of the religion, kidnapping for ransom for getting the money, illegal activity it is, deplorable conditions of women, children and downtrodden people, discriminations against the women in the family and cruelty to domestic servants. These all comes under the violation of human rights which stops the women, children and in general the citizens from enjoying peace, happiness, freedom to freedom, and these people can have the right to go to the court, approach to the court and get the things correct and back they can enjoy the rights. Not only they fight for themselves, they also fight for all the people who are suffering with this kind of injustices and violations. So, the next thing we are going to discuss is also very important. So, till now we have discussed about the fundamental rights and we said that we can enjoy the rights, and if we do not get such rights then we can approach to the court for getting those rights and we can help ourselves to live a happy, peaceful life with dignity and respect in the society, grow and develop among ourselves. But children, there are also some of the duties, rights also come with the responsibilities, as I have said in the earlier session. So, there are certain duties or the responsibilities which have to be accomplished by the citizens of the country. So, what are those duties? They are called as fundamental duties. So, let us understand the fundamental duties now. What are the fundamental duties? As we have rights, we have the responsibilities, and it shall be the duty of the every citizen of our country to accomplish these duties. Fundamental duties, the first one is to abide by the constitution and not insult the national anthem and national flag. They are very important. You just cannot sit while the national anthem being sung, and you cannot just throw away the national flag wherever it has to be respected, treated with respect, and you have to take off if it has fallen down. Then to cherish and follow the noble ideals which inspired our national struggle for freedom. So, whatever the struggles of the earlier national leaders such as Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, there were so many national leaders who have struggled harder for getting independence. So, those noble ideals must be cherished, must be remembered and must be given utmost respect for the struggle that they have done to maintain the unity and sovereignty of our country India. So, to maintain the unity, oneness as well as the authority to be one country, one nation, the rule by ourselves, that also we need to maintain. To defend the country in times of emergency situations, if any war is broke out, at that time every citizen must be ready to go near to the border and fight for the country. To bring harmony and peace among the people of different languages and religions, and to refrain from insulting the dignity of women. So, it is a duty of every citizen to respect the different languages as well as religions that are existing. Our country is a vast country with different languages and religions, cultures and traditions, and we need to respect each and every religion, language, culture and tradition, and we are not supposed to insult the dignity of the women also. Children, now these are all the 5 fundamental rights. Let us go for the next one. To prevent and improve the natural environment. We have varied natural environment, we have forest, we have natural resources, isn't it? So, all those natural resources must be protected. We have mountains, rivers, forest, so many natural resources are there, and we are not supposed to create a little disturbance also in the natural environment. Then to value and preserve the rich heritage of our composite culture. So, to value our culture, our India is having varied culture. It is a beautiful country with composite culture and traditions. A rich heritage is there to our country. So, we should give utmost respect and try to preserve this rich heritage as well as composite culture also. It is our duty. And to develop the scientific temper, humanism and the spirit of inquiry and reform. So, we being the citizens, we just cannot get stagnated at one place. We have to develop. We need to have the scientific temper, the interest to acquire the knowledge, so that we can develop our country, we can develop ourselves, and at the same time we can also develop the entire nation also. So, spirit of inquiry and also spirit of reform should be there. We also have the humanism in us, develop the humanism among ourselves. Then to safeguard the public property such as the roads, we also have the various things, the roads, the bridges, the dams. So, those are all comes under the public property, and we do not have any right to demolish them or to destroy them. So, we have the duty to protect the public property. Then the next one is to strive towards excellence in all spheres. So, towards all the spheres in all different fields, we always should try to excel, we should always try to get utmost knowledge, utmost education, so that we can work for the development of the country, instead of going after getting educated, going to the foreign nations, serving there. Instead of doing such kind of things, we all should work, get educated within the country, and also work for the development of our own country by being in our country only. And that can be possible if we work here only and can develop ourselves in all the possible ways. Children, I hope you have understood this point, and we also have the duty to educate children. So, we ourselves should get educated, and if we find any of the children are not being acquire the opportunity to get educated, it is our duty to educate the children, also take some classes for them and make them, or at least provide the situations for them, create the situations for them, so that they can go to the schools and acquire the education for themselves, for their improvement and development. We can also counsel the parents also for the for sending the children to the schools, and it is our duty. So, we have discussed about all the fundamental duties, children, and I hope that you have understood all the fundamental rights and even the fundamental duties. Rights comes along with the duties. I hope you have understood, children. Okay. So, now we have come to the end of the session, and you must have understood the lesson. Go through the textbooks also and even the worksheets. So, let us finish the evaluation part, test your knowledge. So, what is the first question? Let us see. Write about UDHR. What is UDHR? We have discussed this abbreviation during the class. So, go back to the class and again find out what is UDHR and write few lines, and you can also refer the worksheets as well as the textbooks to complete your answer. The second one is, what are the functions of National Human Rights Commission? So, and the next third one is, think about some instances of violation of human rights. The fourth one is, what are our fundamental duties? And the fifth one is, how do the untouchability and triple talaq violate the fundamental rights? So, you need to answer all these questions, write down in your notebooks and get yourself corrected through your teachers, and go through the textbook, children. Textbook reading is very, very important, and even you have to go through the worksheets which are provided to you through the SIET website. So, children, for better understanding of the concepts, solve the worksheets, please visit the official site of SIET for the worksheets. Children, I hope you have understood all the concepts. Go through the textbooks and the worksheets and try to learn each and everything. So, with this I would like to take the leave. Take care. Thank you.
ఉపాధ్యాయ మిత్రులకి నమస్కారం. ప్రియమైన విద్యార్థులారా, డిజిటల్ పటాలకి స్వాగతం. జామితీయ పటాలైన రేఖాఖండం, కోణం, త్రిభుజం, చతుర్భుజం మొదలైన నిర్మాణాలను గురించి మనం ఈరోజు తరగతిలో నేర్చుకుంటాం. వీటికి నిర్మించడానికి మనకు జామితీయ పరికరాలు అవసరం. వాటి ఆధారంగా వాటికి సంబంధించిన మౌలిక నిర్మాణాల గురించి ఈరోజు తరగతిలో నేర్చుకుందాం. జామితీయ నిర్మాణాలు. జామితీయ పరికరాల పెట్టెలో ఒక స్కేలు, కొలబద్ద, ఒక జత మూలమట్టాలు, విభాగిని, వృత్తలేఖిని మరియు కోణమాని ఉంటాయి. మీ జామితీయ పరికరాల పెట్టెలో ఇవన్నీ కూడా ఉంటాయి. జామితీయ పట నిర్మాణానికి మనం ఈరోజు నేర్చుకునే అంశంలో 2 పరికరాలను ఉపయోగిస్తాం. అవి కొలతలు లేనటువంటి కొలబద్ద, వృత్తలేఖిని. వీటి ఆధారంగా మనం ఈరోజు జామితీయ నిర్మాణాల గురించి నేర్చుకుందాం. ఈరోజు తరగతిలో రేఖాఖండానికి లంబ సమద్విఖండన రేఖను గీయుట, దత్త కోణానికి సమద్విఖండన రేఖను నిర్మించుట, ఇచ్చిన కిరణం తొలి బిందువు వద్ద 60 డిగ్రీల కోణంను నిర్మించుట, ఈ అంశాల గురించి మనం ఇప్పుడు నేర్చుకుందాం. మొదటగా రేఖాఖండానికి లంబ సమద్విఖండన రేఖను గీయుట. మనకి ఇచ్చినటువంటి రేఖాఖండం AB ఉంది. దీనికి మనం లంబ సమద్విఖండన రేఖను నిర్మిద్దాం. చూడండి, ఇక్కడ రేఖాఖండం AB, దీనికి మనం లంబ సమద్విఖండన రేఖను గీయాలి. దానికోసం వృత్తలేఖిని, ఈ వృత్తలేఖిని సహాయంతో ఏ కేంద్రంగా AB పొడవు కంటే సగం కంటే ఎక్కువ, AB పొడవులో సగం కంటే ఎక్కువ వ్యాసార్థంతో ఏ కేంద్రంగా 2 చాపరేఖలు గీయాలి. దానికోసం చూడండి, ఇక్కడ ఏ కేంద్రంగా AB పొడవులో సగం కంటే ఎక్కువ వ్యాసార్థంతో ఒక చాపరేఖను ఇక్కడ మనం గీస్తున్నాం. అదేవిధంగా ఏబీకి కింది వైపులో అంటే AB రేఖాఖండానికి ఇరువైపులా మనం చాపరేఖలను గీయాలి. ఇప్పుడు పై భాగంలో చాపరేఖ గీసినాం. వ్యాసార్థం మార్చకుండా ఏబీకి కింది భాగంలో మరొక చాపరేఖను గీస్తున్నాం. వ్యాసార్థం మార్చకుండా B కేంద్రంగా 2 చాపరేఖలను గీయాలి. దానికోసం ఒకసారి చూడండి, ఇక్కడ చాపరేఖలు గీస్తున్నాం. మొదటగా గీసిన చాపరేఖలు ఖండించుకునే విధంగా ఈ చాపరేఖలు గీయాలి. పై భాగంలో గీసాం. ఇప్పుడు అదేవిధంగా B కేంద్రంగా మరొక చాపరేఖ, ముందు గీసిన చాపరేఖను ఖండించే విధంగా మనం ఒక చాపరేఖను గీస్తున్నాం. ఇప్పుడు ఈ 2 చాపరేఖలు ఖండించుకున్నాయి. ఈ చాపరేఖల ఖండన బిందువును మరియు ఇంకొక చాపరేఖల ఖండన బిందువును Qగా గుర్తించండి. ఈ చాపరేఖల ఖండన బిందువులైన P, Qలను స్కేల్ సహాయంతో కలపండి. దానికోసం చూడండి, ఇక్కడ స్కేల్ సహాయంతో P, Qలను కలుపుతున్నాం. ఓకే, చాపరేఖలను స్కేల్ సహాయంతో P, Qలను కలపడం జరిగింది. ఈ AB రేఖాఖండాన్ని PQ రేఖ ఖండించే బిందువును Oగా గుర్తించండి. PQ రేఖ ABకి లంబ సమద్విఖండన రేఖ అవుతుంది. త్రిభుజ సర్వసమాన నియమాల ఆధారంగా మనం ఈ ప్రవచనాన్ని నిరూపిస్తాం. దానికోసం చూడండి, మనం నిర్మించినటువంటి లంబ సమద్విఖండన రేఖ. ఇందులో ఏను P,Qలతోనూ అదేవిధంగా బీను P,Qలతోనూ కలపండి. చూడండి అక్కడ ఏపీ అదేవిధంగా AQ మరియు BQ కలిపినాం. ఈ పటంలో త్రిభుజం PAQ మరియు త్రిభుజం PBQ, ఈ రెండు త్రిభుజాలలో AP = BP అదేవిధంగా AQ = BQ. ఎందుకు చెప్పండి? అవి సమాన వ్యాసార్థాలతో గీసిన చాపరేఖలు. అదేవిధంగా PQ = PQ, రెండు త్రిభుజాల్లో కూడా PQ అనేది ఉమ్మడి భుజం అవుతుంది. ఇక్కడ మూడు భుజాలు కూడా సమానం. ఒక త్రిభుజంలోని మూడు భుజాలు మరొక త్రిభుజంలోని సదృశ భుజాలకు సమానం కాబట్టి త్రిభుజం PAQ సర్వసమానము త్రిభుజం PBQ. భుజము నియమం ఆధారంగా ఈ రెండు త్రిభుజాలు సర్వసమాన త్రిభుజాలు అవుతాయి. సర్వసమాన త్రిభుజాలలో సదృశ భాగాలు సమానం కావున యాంగిల్ APO = యాంగిల్ BPO. మరియు త్రిభుజం APO మరియు త్రిభుజం BPOలలో AP = BP, రెండు కూడా సమాన వ్యాసార్థాలు. అదేవిధంగా యాంగిల్ APO = యాంగిల్ BPO ఇప్పుడే మనం నిరూపించినాం. యాంగిల్ APO = యాంగిల్ BPO అని. అదేవిధంగా చూడండి, రెండు త్రిభుజాల్లో OP = OP అనేది ఇక్కడ ఉమ్మడి భుజం. ఇక్కడ భుజము కోణము భుజము, ఒక త్రిభుజంలోని భుజము కోణము భుజము మరొక త్రిభుజంలోని భుజము కోణము భుజానికి సమానం కాబట్టి ఈ రెండు త్రిభుజాలు కూడా భుజము కోణము భుజము నియమం ఆధారంగా సర్వసమానం అవుతాయి. అనగా త్రిభుజం APO సర్వసమానం త్రిభుజం BPO. సర్వసమాన త్రిభుజాలలో సదృశ భాగాలు సమానం కాబట్టి ఇక్కడ OA = OB, అంటే ఇక్కడ ABలో O అనేది మధ్య బిందువు అవుతుంది. అదేవిధంగా యాంగిల్ AOP = యాంగిల్ BOP, రెండు కూడా సమాన కోణాలు. కానీ ఇక్కడ చూడండి, ఇక్కడ యాంగిల్ AOP + యాంగిల్ BOP = 180 డిగ్రీలు. ఎందుకు చెప్పండి? అవి ఆ రెండు కోణాలు కలిసి రేఖీయ ద్వయాన్ని ఏర్పరుస్తాయి. ఒక సరళ రేఖ మీద ఏర్పడే కోణం కాబట్టి ఆ రెండు కోణాలు మొత్తం 180 డిగ్రీలు అవుతుంది. అందుచే యాంగిల్ AOP = యాంగిల్ BOP = 180 డిగ్రీలు బై 2. 180లో సగం ఉంటుంది కాబట్టి యాంగిల్ AOP = యాంగిల్ BOP = 90 డిగ్రీలు. ఇక్కడ AO =